here for the party. Trust me, we just getting started. The sound, the vibe, I feel so alive. I'm only here for the party. Trust me, we just getting started.
Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. As you will have seen from the introduction section, this is a video about the Celtic FC women's side, the Celtic girls side. And so if you don't follow the Celtic women's side, this video may not be for you. I have done a preview of the Celtic Hearts game later today on Saturday, and we'll be doing a post-match review of the Celtic Hearts match early on Sunday for those who follow the men's team but not the women's team. Today's video about the girls' side will have a wee look at the goals and the incidents, the team selection, the stats, and my own thoughts about the girls and their dwindling chances of defending their SWPL title this season. Having seen Elena Sadiku's selection, I thought the formation looked good. However, I'm never convinced that having both Maria McInerney and Lucy Ashworth-Clifford out on the left works. Neither has very much pace at all. Lucy Ashworth-Clifford very good at passing and crossing when she has a bit of time and space. However, teams now get her closed down. She hasn't really got the pace to beat anybody and keep that gap. And so when she did beat the Glasgow City midfielders and fullbacks on the left, there was another player coming in to block her off. And sadly, her passing, her crossing, and her delivery from corners was all rather poor. And I was surprised that she stayed on the pitch for as long as she did. Maria McInerney, similarly a very hard-working player, tried hard, but again, lacks that pace, lacks that strength. And so we'd be perfectly happy to see one or the other out on the left. I don't think they both work together as a partnership out there, and I would much rather Celtic had someone with a bit more pace out on the left, using players such as Lefersky, Murphy Agnew, Morgan Cross. All would be good options, I think, out on the left. I think the plan had been to use Weston, the talented Swedish wide player, in that position, but unfortunately, after a couple of very promising games at the start of her Celtic career, she seems to have been out for now, getting on for a second month. Looking at the actual game, Celtic got off to a very good start. They had tons of pressure on Glasgow City. Near miss for Maria McInerney at the back post with a header. It was wrongly given as a by kick when it clearly deflected off Van Diemen, the Glasgow City centre-back. And little by little, Glasgow City got more and more into the game, taking control of midfield, where Celtic were, for me, a little bit weak. A lot of passes and tackles by Celtic in midfield going missing. Glasgow City always seemed to be the first player to the ball, and even in the not quite 50-50s, Glasgow City seemed to come away with the ball, particularly as the first half went on and on. Kind of against the run of play, Glasgow City did take the lead in the 23rd minute. Celtic lost the ball in midfield yet again. Glasgow City got the ball out wide to Livera, who was one-on-one as Emma Lawton had committed to the attack. And Livera, looking like she was delivering a cross to one of the two Glasgow City players at the back post, actually managed to, in essence, from a fairly acute angle, lob Kelsey Docherty, and the ball clipped just off the inside of the post and nestled in the side netting, and Celtic were 1-0 down. For me, it was kind of against the run of play. It didn't look to me that Livera convincingly was trying to shoot. It looked more like a cross that drifted in. However, doesn't really matter because the goal's the goal, the goal. Celtic huffed and puffed, but didn't really get back into the first half. Sishanunen looked a bit lost up front. Amy Gallagher, in the first half, for me, was hardly worth her being on the pitch because she did so very little. There certainly was lots of running about, lots of trying to close down Glasgow City, stop them getting out the ball out the box or out their defensive third. Amy Gallagher didn't seem to be doing as much running about as her teammates. The first case Saoirse and Maria McInerney all did work very hard to close down the ball and put pressure. Amy Gallagher didn't really seem to be there either as a pivot for distributing the ball, didn't seem to be getting herself into the box to support Saoirse Noonan. And really, in the first half, Kit Lefersky for me was one of the few players to come out with any credit. Bruno Larenko started in the right side of central defence with Emma Lawton going more out into her right wing back role. This puts a lot of pressure on Emma Lawton to get back and defend, and I think for the most part she did a good job up and down the right side, although her passing wasn't quite up to its usual standard, and her control at times also let her down, which is unusual for her. Kelly Clark, quite disappointing for me as a central defender. Her positioning was rather poor, and her lack of pace doesn't allow her to catch up for any mistakes. And Celia Barkley, for me, doesn't really look like a left-sided centre-back, nor does she really ever get into a left wing-back role. And for me, it really does show how much we've missed Chloe Craig on the left side of defence. And, of course, we massively miss Caitlin Hayes on the right side of the defence. And I think neither of them has been replaced terribly well this season, which is unfortunate. And, of course, it is sad that one of Celtic's best players, Chloe Craig, has been injured pretty much all year and won't be back till next year. And, of course, Caitlin Hayes seemed desperate to leave Celtic, which of course happened in the January transfer window break. And for me, in the months leading up to Christmas and New Year, Caitlin Hayes didn't really seem to be playing at her best. And it seemed to me all that first half of the season, her intention was to leave the club in January, having achieved the goal of winning the title with Celtic and getting into the Champions League group stage with Celtic. And I think having had those two dreams fulfilled, don't think she really performed anywhere near her best in that first half of the season, which I think also has put Celtic on the back foot. After half-time, Celtic certainly did seem to get back into the game, put Glasgow City under pressure, and pretty much apart from one attack where Kelsey Docherty came out well to block the ball, Glasgow City, up until the 86th minute, didn't really make much in the way of headway into Celtic's defence. However, Celtic did get more and more into the game, particularly when Murphy Agnew came on. That injected quite a lot of pace. And Celtic did look like when Murphy was on that they were more getting some joy in midfield and getting the ball out wide. And indeed, in the 59th minute, some nice quick play in defence to get the ball out wide to Emma Lawton in space. One nice touch to control it. Brilliant ball into the centre of the box, just about on the 18-yard line. Well controlled by Saoirse Noonan. And she smashed the ball past Lee Gibson in the goal, and Celtic were 1-1. And to be honest, at that point, it looked like there was really only one side who was going to go on and win. And largely, it did look like Glasgow City were trying to just frustrate Celtic, block them in midfield, block them in defence, and holding on for the draw. However, unfortunately, Glasgow City got a free kick wide out on Celtic's left, the Glasgow City right. Ball into the box. Celtic had 3 chances to clear the ball. Unfortunately, the ball fell late again to the Glasgow centre-back Schmidt, who knocked the ball towards goals. Harrison, trying to block it, managed instead to deflect it past Kelsey Docherty and past the defenders on the line. I think possibly if Abby Harrison just got out of the way of it, Kelsey Docherty would have made a comfortable save. But unfortunately, Abby Harrison's deflection took it past Docherty and past the two defenders on the line, and Celtic were 2-1 down, and didn't really look like they were going to get that goal back to get themselves a draw or a win after going a goal down with 4 minutes of regulation play. Second half, again, much like the first, although with a lot more effort. A lot of passes going astray, a lot of overcomplication in and around the box. Saoirse Noonan, apart from scoring the goal, wasn't really a big contributor. And then, sadly, when Abby Harrison came on to replace her, she too seemed off the pace and lacking good control in the box. And Celtic, apart from a few long shots that either went way over the bar or were easily saved by Gibson in the Glasgow goal, didn't really look like they were going to get a goal. So Celtic, lots of creation, but as has been the case for much of this season, the final ball, the final shot, letting them down. Just looking at the stats, does show that Celtic were very much in the game. Possession 47 for Celtic, 53 for Glasgow. Shots were 9 for Celtic, 10 for Glasgow. On target, 6 for Celtic, 4 for Glasgow City. One off target by Celtic, although I think there were far more than that. But that's what the official stats were saying. Glasgow City, 2 off targets, 2 blocked shots for Celtic, 4 block shots for Glasgow City, and corners were 5-3 in favour of Celtic. Kelsey Docherty made 2 saves, and Lee Gibson made 4 saves. So, as I said at the start of the video, I think Celtic's title defence dreams are probably pretty much gone. With the format, there is a chance with each of the top 6 playing each other home and away, that a couple of results going your way and getting a string of 8 wins in a row, which I think is what Celtic will require. I think there is still the potential for Celtic to overcome that deficit, although with Hibs, who are currently top, equal with Glasgow City playing Motherwell at the weekend, it looks like Hibs will be going 9 points clear of Celtic. Rangers will be playing Hearts, and so it could be that Hearts leapfrog Celtic in the table, or it could be that Rangers extend their gap on Celtic to 7. As I said, I think there is the prospect of overhauling that deficit, but it's getting more and more further away and more unlikely with each defeat. There is now an international break in the women's game, which may well have come at a bad time for Celtic, as it did look like they were a bit ring rusty, with a combination of not having played due to it having been the Scottish League Cup weekend, previously the Scottish Cup weekend, and an international break, all in quick succession. And it had actually been 2 months since Celtic had played a home league game at New Douglas Park. And it did look like the players, to an extent, were rather ring rusty. Most of the team really did not perform at their best. My personal feeling is that it's worth giving this squad and Elena Sadiku and her coaching staff another season next season. The loyalty that Hibs, Hearts and Glasgow City all showed to their squads and their coaching staff last season going into this has very much borne fruit for them. I think Elena Sadiku is a very good coach in women's football. I think Celtic have quite a few good quality players. Unfortunately, players such as Kelly Clark, Amy Gallagher, Lucy Ashworth Clifford, Natalie Ross just have not performed this season. We've had quite a lot of injuries, problems with players such as Chloe Craig, Kit Lefersky, and many others. However, having gone through the comment sections for the last few matches, it does look like there is an increasing feeling amongst supporters that it's time for a clear out of the squad and time for a clear out of the coaching staff. My personal feeling is if Celtic were to clear out their squad and clear out the coaching staff, it's liable to be a season or two before we catch up again, and the good response of the squad and coaching staff at Hibs, Hearts and Glasgow City from last season to this, for me, is a good bit of evidence as to why Celtic should stick with the bulk of this squad and the coaching staff as well. However, you may have your own thoughts, your own opinions, so do please share those in the comment section. Try and keep things pleasant and polite as part of the debate. And finally, if you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscriber button. Please do click the like button. It does help spread women's football and the Celtic women's team to more and more football fans on YouTube. After the international break, we'll get back to more reviews of the Celtic women's side as they cling on to their faint hopes of defending their SWPL title. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.